But first, the race for president in Georgia officially called. The statewide election audit and hand retally of more than 5 million ballots is complete, and the Secretary of State confirming President-elect Joe Biden is the winner. The final vote margin here, 12,284 votes. We have team coverage for you on all of the developments. Liza Lucas tracking the final numbers, including how much money counties footed for the audit. Chanu Her with the latest on the firing of a top county election official. Mara Sirianni live at Dobbins Air Reserve Base, where Vice President Mike Pence will touch down later today, campaigning for Georgia's 2 Republican U.S. senators. But we begin with Joe Ripley live outside the state capitol with more on the audit results. So what happens now, Joe?
Yeah, what happens now is that the Secretary of State's office has until 5 o'clock later on this afternoon to certify the results statewide. This audit is largely questioned over its accuracy. Well, according to the Secretary of State's office, the margin of difference between the original count and the audit results, a fraction of a percent, less than 0.1%. Here's how we got here. 2 weeks and 2 days after election night in Georgia, the state completed this audit or retally by hand of the presidential race. Thousands of workers going through 5 million votes. Biden's surge came due to a large number of absentee and mail-in ballots. He is the first Democrat now to win Georgia since former President Bill Clinton did so in 1992. Meantime, President Trump is sowing some doubt in the retally process here in the Peach State, calling it fake, while Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says he has full confidence in the results.
And it's just really to give voters the comfort that at the end of the day, we want to make sure that all legal votes are counted, that we're going to follow the process so that no one can question the results.
And so, again, as I mentioned previously, the Georgia Secretary of State's office has until 5 o'clock this afternoon to certify statewide results. Then Governor Kemp must certify Georgia's 16 electors in favor of Joe Biden. Of course, after that certification, the Trump campaign has until Tuesday to request a machine recount.
A federal judge in Atlanta denying a request for a temporary restraining order to stop the election results from being certified. All of this was playing out in court as we had been waiting for the audit, those results to be complete and released. This lawsuit filed by lawyers for the Trump administration, the judge found, quote, it would breed confusion and potential disenfranchisement to rule in favor of that restraining order. A top election official is without a job this morning, fired over thousands of uncounted ballots. Chanu Her continues our team coverage.
I'm Chanu Her. Floyd County fires their top elections chief after a mistake caught during the statewide audit. Now, this is all because the statewide audit found 2,600 votes that were not tallied from election night. Of course, this mistake put a lot of attention on Floyd County, and it ended up costing Elections Chief Robert Brady his job. In a statement, the Board of Elections said, quote, because this is Mr. Brady's second written reprimand within a 6-month period, the Floyd County Board of Elections voted to terminate Mr. Brady pursuant to county policy.
Now, Floyd County was not the only county to report discrepancies in their vote retallies or tallies from the original election night. We have Fayette, Douglas, and Walton as well. Fulton and Gwinnett had to sort out smaller inconsistencies from their original counts, and those discrepancies come with a price tag for counties. Liza Lucas is in the newsroom this morning. Liza, we're talking about everything from paying poll workers to security.
That's right, Shiva, and it really depends on the size of the county we are talking about. The smaller counties, they have fewer votes, so they need less staff. Floyd County telling us it's going to take an estimated $5,000 to pay all of their workers for the process. But when we talk about the larger counties, for instance, Fulton, well, they had to bring in a lot more people, and Fulton County tells us that their expense was more like $200,000 by the time it completed the audit on Thursday. Meanwhile, Clayton County, which has about a quarter of Fulton County's population, spent about $70,000 over a 4-day period.
The cost of conducting this hand audit will fall on Georgia counties. However, I will note that we are encouraged that the Secretary of State, when he made this announcement, did note that the Secretary of State's office and the General Assembly will look for funds, whether it be through Help America Vote Act or the CARES Act, and possibly reimburse counties once this is all over.
That was Todd Edwards you heard from right there, providing context. He's from the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. So getting back to some of those counties and the estimated costs, Cobb County, they tell us they have had a $5.6 million grant that is helping out with their associated election cycles. And that includes everything from drop boxes to hazard pay for employees, even PPE. And they're hoping the audit will be included and cover that as well. Now, when it comes to DeKalb, they tell us they're dealing with about $180,000 estimating that cost, but they also finished faster than expected, so it's likely that number could go down.
All right, I know a lot of folks were wondering about that, so thank you for breaking it down for us, Liza. This is happening today. Vice President Mike Pence will be campaigning in Georgia for the state's 2 GOP Senate candidates, and with early voting for the Senate runoffs just weeks away, the campaign rallies are just heating up. Mara Sirianni live at Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Marietta, where the VP will touch down later today.
He's expected about 12:30. Sheba, as we know, the race in Georgia is so closely divided here, as we saw with the presidential election. And now Vice President Pence, of course, will be visiting Metro Atlanta to campaign for Senators Perdue and Loeffler. So again, he is expected to touch down at 12:30. He's making stops in Hall County and Cherokee County. Now he's expected to highlight the accomplishments of the Trump administration as part of the Defend the Majority rallies. This is also a pitch to voters to keep Republicans in control of the Senate. And in the midst of a heated race, Senator Loeffler now finds herself the target of an ethics complaint for soliciting campaign funds from inside the halls of Congress. This happened Wednesday morning during an interview on Fox, the complaint filed by Georgia Dems.
That's why it's so important that everyone across the country get involved. They can visit kellyforsenate.com to chip in $5 or $10.
This is par for the course in the final days of an election. You see partisans throwing ethical charges and filing these sort of cases.
Now, Loeffler's team responded, calling the complaint frivolous. Again, things really heating up here in Georgia. Early voting for that race begins on December 14th.
It has been an election process of constant updates and changes. 11 Alive is committed to bringing you accurate and up-to-date information. Head on over to 11alive.com/vote for more on Georgia's Senate runoffs. And you can also send your questions or concerns to us at whereatlspeaks at 11alive.com or text us at 404-885-7600.